Welcome, my friends, back to the fog. This is a world of fear and death, a killing ground where cold and ruthless butchers and monsters prey upon fearful and desperate survivors, fleeing for their lives, all for the amusement and depraved feelings of an unfeeling God who takes pleasure in the suffering, fear, and bloodshed. Traveling through the fog, you're liable to hear all manner of noises and sounds. Generators being worked on, roars of rage and pain, sobs of fear and panic, crows shrieking and croaking their songs to the night, and, of course, screams of terror and pain. But there's another sound you might hear. A peaceful, welcoming, humming song. A lullaby from a time of innocence long past. But don't try to find the source of this song. For as all veterans of the fog know, the one singing this lovely but somber tune is not a beacon of hope, but a huntress. Anna was only a child when her father died. Raised by her mother in the wilds of the northern Russian forest, Anna was taught from a young age how to survive, how to hunt, how to track. They lived together in a modest cabin that was built strong and durable. At night, Anna would cuddle up to her mother for warmth, surrounded by little wooden toys and masks that were carved by her mother. She slept to the sound of fairy tales and lullabies told to her by her mother. She was innocent of the world, unaware of the dangers that lived beyond her. One particularly foul winter, desperation drove Anna and her mother to hunt far more difficult and dangerous prey, an elk in this case. The elk put up a fight and attempted to charge Anna, but her mother threw herself in its way and was impaled on the elk's antlers. She fought viciously and managed to kill the beast, but her wounds were fatal, and she wasn't going anywhere. The frightened Anna was unable to move her mother, so instead she stayed with her, weeping as her mother bled out in the snow, singing to her Anna's favorite lullaby, until finally she went quiet and cold. Anna stayed for some time before finally picking herself up, forced to return home. Only a child and forced to survive on her own, Anna had to adapt quickly to live. She began hunting and learning to kill or be killed. She started small with squirrels, foxes, and other small animals, all just for survival at first. But over time she began to grow skilled as a predator, learning how to kill more effectively. Hunting became less a matter of survival for her, as she had become so adept at the art she could hunt food without effort. Now it was a matter of sport. She would hunt wolves, bears, elk, large and dangerous creatures to test her skill and make her stronger. As travelers made their way through the woods, Anna found her new favorite prey: humans. You see, humans weren't like bears or foxes. They weren't edible, but they carried with them valuable things. Garments, tools, and her favorite things of all, toys. Anna had lost some of her humanity the night she lost her mother, but that same child still remained, yearning to indulge in toys and simple pleasures. Despite this, she was merciless in the hunt, butchering any man or beast who entered her wood. Well, not entirely. You see, she never harmed little girls. Anna was a woman now, grown and strong, and a part of her felt a yearning to do as her own mother had done. She was not the one to be coddled now, she would be the one to coddle. When she found a little girl among travelers and hunters, she would take the child to her cabin and tend to her. Of course, the child might run away, and that was bad. The woods are dangerous for little girls who don't know how to survive. So she'd fasten them to the wall with a rope tied around their neck, for their safety, of course. She was generous to them. She would give them toys, storybooks that she herself didn't know how to read, and dolls to play with. Anything they needed. But the girls were not adept to the wild like she was, and, as usual, would waste away and die due to the cold or due to sickness. Every time it made Anna miserable and brought her more pain and sadness. She wanted to keep trying, and soon she began raiding villages to kill families and take their daughters, so she could try again and again to be a good mother. To calm the children, she wore the animal masks that her mother would craft for her. Legends began to grow around the villages of half-man and half-beast that lived in the Red Forest, who slaughtered men and ate up little girls. This way of life was the norm that Anna was so used to, as she tried hard to be a proper mother to the little girls she brought home to her. Then, World War I came to Russia. German soldiers began to cross into the forest to invade and crush a floundering Russian empire. The result was evacuations and devastations of towns and villages. There were no more travelers in villages with children in them, no more little girls to mother and to protect, only soldiers. Now Anna found these soldiers curious. Some spoke her native language, but others spoke a language she did not know. But all partook in the same barbarism, torture, curses, death. It all perplexed Anna. She came upon a camp in the night in which she studied them, observing their habits. She saw soldiers killing prisoners of war by bashing them over the head with shovels, which annoyed Anna. Shovels are poor tools for killing. They're sloppy. She watched other soldiers hanging prisoners by their feet above fires and listening to their screams. How odd. You kill the meat before cooking it. It was likely that these soldiers didn't understand how the hunt was meant to be done, she thought. But the screams were funny to her. They were the most bizarre and funny sounds she'd ever heard. It was clear that these soldiers were not good hunters, so she would educate them on the hunt. As she planned her attack, she saw something that caught her eye. A Russian soldier whittling a doll. A perfect gift for her current little Bushka. Edit here. I'm quoting the tome directly by saying Bushka, however, this demonstrates a stereotypical and common misunderstanding of the Russian language. Bushka is a shortened version of babushka, which means old woman or grandmother. In English, babushka usually refers to a headscarf or wrapping stereotypically worn by elderly women in Russian society. If the tome is referring to the little girl Anna is currently holding, calling her Bushka wouldn't make much sense. She could say do instead, which means daughter, and would have poetic significance as it sounds similar to a doe, female deer, and would fit for a huntress. Okay, back on track. She begins slaughtering the soldiers, using clever tactics to lure them out of hiding, and then cutting them down with her axes. She doesn't kill them all at once, though. She's strong, but can't fight a whole military camp. Rather, she slaughters a handful and then retreats. Day after day, the soldiers begin to panic, fear in their hearts as they recognize a predator is near. They fear that a bodark is hunting them down. A translation. In Russian folklore, there are two types of werewolf, the Walkalak and the bodark. Walkalaks are those who are cursed by the devil to become wolves, but bodarks are those who choose to become werewolves and can change whenever they want to. Okay, sorry, last time, promise, back to it. Anna liked this, so each night she would hum a lullaby before howling like a bodark and slaughtering soldiers who came running to inspect the disturbance. Finally, when no more soldiers remained, she took her prize, a small doll that the Russian soldier had been whittling. She carried it home to her cabin, where she found her child curled up in the cabin, weak and afraid. She set the doll down beside her, smiling. It would be okay. Those soldiers wouldn't hurt her. She then hummed a lullaby to reassure her. When the war ended, so too did Anna, never to be seen again. The story of the Bodark and the Red Forest is still told to this day, but none have seen her since. However, she still stalks, seeking something that no one is sure what. She hums her lullaby to the night as she hunts. Though she continues to kill and destroy as hunters do, deep within her heart a piece of her is missing. The piece that longs to nurture, to hold, and to protect. A mother without her child, Anna is a predator with countless victims, but no one to love. The Huntress's lore is absolute cash, Everything about her I find excellent. I love the concept of a child left to fend for herself, losing her humanity, her empathy, and her social capabilities, but still wanting them. I like the fact that she's not just like, oh, I gave up my empathy, I'm no longer human and I'm proud of it. No, she wants it, but she doesn't know how to get it. She has desire to be a mother and to love a little girl the way her mother loved her, but has no understanding of what that takes. Her pleasures were from the toys and books her mother shared with her, so that's all she knows to share with the little girl she takes, not understanding the other necessities of a child. She hunts for sport because she seeks entertainment just as much as she does food. Much like the book The Most Dangerous Game, Anna has learned the thrill of hunting humans as humans present unique challenges. However, unlike the aforementioned book, Anna does appreciate the trophies of her kills and the clothing, toys, and tools they leave. Like I said, I just love what they offer with her lore. But let's face it, it's not the lore that people like most about Huntress. It's her big mama energy, as was shown quite clearly in Hooked on You, the dating simulator. But aside from that, Huntress is also liked for her power. Now, I'll preface this explanation by revealing, as you most likely can discern from the footage you're seeing, that I'm not very good at Huntress. Without an aiming crosshair receptacle to help, as well as all the other obstacles and odd hitboxes in the game, Huntress very rarely scores me the kills I want, and more often than not, I get bullied, so you can't expect me to play well as Huntress. But I do understand her ability and why people like it. Huntress is the first released ranged killer, which has sparked a lot of anger from survivor mains, as distance is not an issue for the Huntress. Huntress has access to throwable hatchets. She can hold down the power button to charge a throw for greater speed, and then will throw them in the forward direction to hit survivors and do damage. She has a limited number, but can replenish them by searching lockers. Survivors know to be afraid when they hear the Huntress's lullaby being sung, because not only is that lullaby the audible terror radius of the killer, but it also means that they are most definitely within range of her axe. The Huntress does slow down slightly while aiming and charging the axe, and since there's no aiming assist or crosshairs to help, throwing these accurately, as I said, can be maddening. It's recommended to herd survivors into tight corridors or paths where they can't suddenly turn or shift to avoid your throw. While Huntress's power is excellent and difficult to counter for some players, her perks leave something to be desired, at least to me. Her unique perks are Beast of Prey, Territorial Imperative, and Hex the Huntress's Lullaby. Beast of Prey is a little useful, I admit, but given Huntress's powers, it has a drawback. Beast of Prey activates when the killer enters the Bloodlust status effect, which is a status effect that takes place if the killer remains in the chase with the same survivor for a certain period of time, allowing them to move faster. While this perk is active, the killer is undetectable and grants up to 50% bonus blood points in the Hunter category. This perk is fine, all things considered, but my problem with it is that Huntress is going to focus on range more often than not, and if the survivor gets a certain distance away, the chase ends. If you are a skilled Huntress with your throwing hatchets, you'll down survivors before the Bloodlust effect should kick in. Territorial Imperative is neat, but ultimately useless as far as I'm concerned. It's far too situational to be practical. With this perk, you can see the auras of any survivors entering the basement when you are at least 32 meters away, and the auras are only revealed for 3 seconds and has a cooldown of up to 20 seconds. This perk is situational, as most survivors will avoid the basement unless they're going down to rescue someone. And in that event, you probably aren't far from the basement anyway. If you're far enough away from the basement for this perk to be useful, then you're either distracted by a chase or you're too far to see the aura at all. Like I said, not really all that useful. And then finally, Hex the Huntress Lullaby is probably the only perk she has that I find useful. When the trial starts, a totem becomes a Hex totem. While this totem is active, any failed skill check done to a healing or repairing suffers an increased regression in progress. Not only this, but each time a survivor is hooked, the perk gains a token. Each token decreases the time between the audio warning of a skill check and the skill check meter itself. If the perk has 5 tokens applied, then the audio warning for skill checks is removed entirely. While certainly not the strongest perk out there, I like this one out of Huntress's perks, as it makes skill checks all the more frustrating for survivors and punishes their lack of focus or rushing. An easy mistake to make when confronted with a killer who can knock you down from across the map. But suffice to say, I really like the Huntress. Granted, like I said, I'm not good at playing her, and in the footage you've probably seen plenty of survivors bullying me for how bad I am.
Listen to yourself, son. It's sad.
But I still enjoy her, at least for the lore, if nothing else. I think she looks cool, I think that her lore is spectacular, and heck, she's Hannah's favorite killer out of the group. She even drew herself wearing Huntress cosplay. Hey, you gotta love that, and I will admit that when I played the game Hooked on You, Huntress was the first girl I tried to get with, and it was kind of entertaining. I don't know, there's just something really awesome about a Huntress, or a Russian mama in this case, who just wants a kid to love, you know? There's something kind of cool about that. But that's it for this video. I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time in the fog. Take care.